Hi, I'm Bobby Plump.
Hi, my name's Angelo Pizzo. I'm the writer and producer of the movie Hoosiers and Rudy.
Hey, I'm Brad Long, played Buddy in Hoosiers, and you are listening to Scandal Water.
I hope you all know about it and enjoy. Have a great day.
Welcome to Scandal Water, where the tea is hot and the conversation lively.
Your hosts, Candy
and Ashley,
will discuss a peculiar story somehow related to the entertainment industry. This podcast might not change the world, but it just might satisfy your thirst for an intriguing tale.
Oh, it's that time of day. Tune in and hear what the ladies say. It's time to bend your ear when the silver screen appears. Stories about the stage and screen and everything in between. So come on and join the fun. The curtain opens in 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, Ashley.
Good morning, Candy.
I'm excited about what we're doing today.
I know, I like your sweatshirt.
Why, thank you. Funny you should bring that up because Kirk actually purchased this sweatshirt that proudly displays the name of Hickory High while at an event that you're going to be hearing about, our listeners, in just a minute.
That's right.
We are doing something so fun. We actually talked about this a while back. We said we wanted to do some Varie-tea episodes every now and then.
Yes.
This is when we break out of the theme. We can just at any time kind of randomly come in with a topic that's a surprise. It might be a listener suggestion. It might just be something that came up that's timely. It might be a fun field trip, just something we want to kind of throw at you out of the blue, and we've got one of those today.
We thought it would be a good time to do it because break up the sadness.
Yes.
There's a bit of a sad theme this month, and we wanted to bring a little happy into it.
Plus, it's very timely because, as you guys remember, we did a 2-part episode on Hoosiers last month at the end of March. And we had the first part where we talked all about Hoosiers, and then we had the second part where we had the fascinating interview with Brad Long, who played Buddy. Well, here's what happened. While we were in the interview with Brad, he happens to mention that he is on the board of the Milan Museum, where they work hard to help everyone remember the Milan Miracle, which, as you all recall, is the basis for the movie Hoosiers. And he says, you know what? We're actually going to be having the 70th celebration of the Milan Miracle on March 23rd.
I know.
You all should come.
I know.
And we did.
We did. We went.
So what you guys are about to hear is not the ceremony in its entirety,
Right. Yeah.
but you're going to get a nice representation. Do you want to explain to them how it's going to work, Ashley?
Sure, yeah. What we did is I essentially sat there and recorded with our field recorder the entire ceremony, which was 90 minutes. But what we wanted to do for the episode is, like you said, give a flavor of what happened. So what I have done is I have taken little bits of each of the speeches. Now, not all of them. There were some recorded speeches that were sent in, like Bob Costas sent in a recorded speech. I did not include those because I felt a little like, could there be copyright? Because it was a video that he sent in. And although it was a public event, I just thought, better to avoid that. But it was very cool. They had lots of messages. And I'm just going to give you guys a little flavor of some of the people that spoke. I'm also going to cut out a lot of the applause. Not that we don't want to hear that, but just know that after they would say, welcome to this person, there would be applause. But I cut most of that out because we just wanted to give a fun flavor of the event.
Yes, which was really well done and very well attended. They were anticipating about 1,000 people, but what we heard was that they actually had way more than that.
They did.
And this was a very enthusiastic, appreciative crowd. Our hubbies went with us.
Yes.
So Brian and Kirk were there as well. And we had a great time. We're so excited that we're going to be able to get to share this with you right now.
Candy and I are sitting here and we are waiting for the 70th anniversary celebration of the 1954 Milan Miracle to begin. Candy, how are you feeling?
I love this. It's such a wonderful feeling. Everybody has come out to support this team. 70 years ago, they did this wonderful thing. And here's
This miraculous thing.
1,000 people they're expecting, and we're right in the center of it. And everybody's already so warm and welcoming.
I know.
Everybody's hugging each other around us. And
I feel like the air is abuzz with excitement and activity, and it's really exciting. We're going to have a big lineup. We've got Bobby Plump is here. Did you see that? Bobby Plump himself. There's the governor is here, I think is what they said. So this is a very big deal.
It is a big deal. And we've already had a chance to say hello to Brad. He gave us a hug, and we got a picture with him.
All right, so we'll keep you guys updated appreciated as it progresses.
Good morning. I am John Freifogel, principal here at Milan Middle and Intermediate School, former athletic director, and one of the current board members for the 54 Museum. First, I would like to thank these gentlemen in front of me for everything that they've done. Without them, we would not be here. So gentlemen, thank you. Secondly, I want to welcome everyone to Milan, Indiana and Milan High School for today's 70th anniversary celebration. I hope you enjoy today's festivities. Thank you.
It grew through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Greg Rakestraw, and I am honored to serve as the Master of Ceremonies for this tremendous 70th year celebration of the Milan Miracle. A story that when a compilation of sports writers, broadcasters, and fans got together about 8 years ago to celebrate the bicentennial of the state of Indiana, we tried to rank the top 25 sports stories in this state's history. The unquestioned number one was Milan beating Muncie Central 70 years ago as of Wednesday in 1954. So our most honored guest today, to my left, cheerleader Hattie Bulky Marshall. Number 24, Ray Kraft. Number 32, Robin Cutter. The man who got inducted into the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame on the actual 70th anniversary of the state championship game. Number 33, Gene White. To his right, number 22, Roger Schroeder. There are 7 billion people on the planet. This man has taken a picture with half of them. The man that hit the famous shot, number 25, Bobby Plum. Ladies and gentlemen, Mitch Daniels.
Greg, thank you all. Thank you all for the chance to be back here. Every place and every era, people, especially young people, need a reason to dream and a reason to believe that dreams can come true. And these boys gave us that, along with one of the great athletic drills of all time. And so to me, I don't think I'm alone in this. Milan is even bigger than basketball, if anything can ever such be. Thanks for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, our governor of the state of Indiana, Mr. Eric Holton.
Thank you, Greg, and good morning to one and all. I bring you greetings from my wife, Janet. She could not be here today, but you'll understand she was born and bred in Muncie, Indiana. She's thinking of us all. And it's not just during March Madness. This is Hoosier hysteria day after day after day. And when I just think about all the champions and legends that have been born out of this inspiration, aiming higher to try to achieve and to overcome what life is thrown at you. This community is the Mecca. This is it. And all that went into it before you ever got to him. And it's just a special privilege to associate with this story in such a familial way. And to know that you have given to our state's heritage, like I can't name very many other ways, and the reputation that we enjoy internationally because of what was achieved, for all that you have given to get to that place, you have given us more. And so here's to the next 70. Thank you and congratulations.
We have 1/4 of the Hickory Huskers here with us today. Brad Long, Steve Hollar, DDS. You might know them as Buddy and Raid. I I literally have been lucky enough to be on a couple different boards now with Brad Long. Brad is a part of the board here at Milan and does great work with the Hoosier gym as well. And Steve, because of my age when the movie was made, I literally would spend way too much time at practice, not actually working on my game, trying to hit your one-legged, knee-raised jump shot off the backboard, which is why I didn't play after I was in the junior varsity. So I'm fully blaming you. Guys, it is wonderful to see you. And obviously the story of Milan and Hickory have been intertwined. I ask you to look to my left, your right. Obviously our great friends at the Hoosier gym in Knightstown are here. The way that you folks feel about your team as well, you should, is the way the folks in Knightstown feel about being chosen to be the home of the Hickory Huskers. And now that gymnasium is used for 75 to 80 varsity games a year, if not more. We are thrilled to be joined now. Again, it was a co-creative team of Angelo Pizzo and David Anspaugh that, through the movie Hoosiers, has helped this story live on and gain an even greater platform than it had from 1954 through 1986. David could not join us today, but we are thrilled that Angelo could. Ladies and gentlemen, Angelo Pizzo.
Thanks so much. Bobby, here we are again. We always say that every time we come together in these events, and I've been glad to share so many with all of you guys. I was thinking driving into Milan today that it was 43 years ago that I first came to Milan. And to give you a context of how that happened, I was in Philadelphia watching Indiana University win the national championship. And I hitched a ride with the team plane back to Bloomington to help celebrate that week. And I was sort of between jobs, as they say. And I'd always carried in my back pocket this idea of doing the Milan story as a movie. And it occurred to me I'd never been to Milan. And I thought, I got to go down there and just check it out and maybe find out if there's any players who are still there. I can maybe talk to them. So I drove into Milan. I looked around. I remember pulling into a gas station, and I asked if there are any members of the team that still resided in Milan. He said, well, Gene White has a feed and chick store here. And I thought, well, that's perfect. So I just asked him this question. I went into the store, and I don't think I told him I was doing a movie because it was still just a germ of an idea. It wasn't a real thing for me. And I asked him if I could, a few questions, because I came at this knowing that one of the premises to creating a drama is in the first class, screenwriting class I ever took at USC, there was one line on the bulletin board: the essence of all drama is conflict. So I was directing my questions to Gene in that regard. And I said, did you get along with all of your teammates? And he said, oh yeah, we started playing ball together. We were in grade school, and we loved each other. And, we were like a family. We were close. And I said, okay, well, nothing there. How about the coach? Oh, we loved our coach. The coach loved us. And I was like, oh, this is not going to work out here. So I said, well, what about the townspeople, the teachers, families? Oh no, we had the great support. We loved them. They loved us. And I thanked him, and I walked out the door and thought, there's no movie here. And as I was driving home, I started thinking, this is such an inspirational and powerful David and Goliath underdog story, which work in films. I got to figure out a way to do it, to capture the spirit, to capture the essence of it without actually telling the real story, because I don't feel that it's there in terms of finding that conflict. So I decided to kind of create the characters whole cloth, and I went from there. And so I was thinking about that. And I've told this story before, but one of the reasons why we're here, and I'm not here to talk about the movie, but I'm here to talk about these gentlemen who are the reason that I'm standing here. And that is the very thing that Gene talked about, that the love they had for each other, the connectedness they had as a team, as a community, was what made them so successful and made them so powerful. I've been watching some of these NCAA games, and the teams that are really good, the teams that you see like Yale or Oakland that overcome these great odds, beating Auburn or Kentucky, they know where each other are on the court. And the thing about this team, and I watched some of their games on the championship game, is they always had a second sense about what role each played at what time. So I just had a feeling that connectedness and that love they had for each other and that understanding of who should do what at what time in what part of the game was almost an unconscious energy, and it was selfless. It was completely selfless. It was always the team first. And in talking to these guys, that's who they are. They're beautiful people, and I can tell you, and I've said this many times before, not only have this team inspired so many people, including me, but Bobby, the joke is made, if you didn't hit that shot and be pumping gas in Pierceville, that's not true at all. He would have been successful wherever he did, I'll say that. But that shot changed many people's lives, including my own, and for that, I'm forever grateful. Thank you so much.
And Angelo, I would say this, you and David have changed a lot of lives, all of our viewing habits from 1986 on. So, Angelo, thank you. And again, thank you for being here. All right, I've got one more speaker before we are joined by the honorees of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, the mayor of Mishawaka, Dave Wood.
I can't tell you how honored I am to be here. This is a bucket list thing for me, but you may be wondering why the heck the mayor of Mishawaka is here. Community about 4 hours away on the border of Michigan. Well, I will tell you that the Milan Miracle is known far beyond the borders of Milan internationally. But we have a special connection between Milan and Mishawaka. That is because Marv and Mary Lou Wood chose to live there all their life. And in fact, Mary Lou Wood is one of my neighbors. She lives right across the cornfield, the real coach of the Milan Miracle team, and I call her the First Lady of Indiana basketball, but she sends her love. Marv was very important in my life. We share the same last name, but we are not related, although he is a father figure to me in spirit. And he is the reason why I am mayor. He was on the city council. He moved to Mishawaka. He was a school counselor, certainly a coach at the high school and college level. But he was also a city councilman. And he talked me into running for city council. Now, he had passed away just before I took my first term, but it was he who got me into politics. And he served his community so well. He touched countless lives. As he touched these men's lives, he touched many, many more in our community. Milan and Hickory both caused people to put up backboards in their driveways. Well, we decided to do one about two times the actual size. And we have depicted in that, we have Ray and Gene and Bobby with Coach Wood measuring the goal in Mishawaka. It gets passed by hundreds of thousands of people annually, and it's our effort to educate people far and wide about what happened here and how many people's lives were touched. So I would invite you all to come up and take a look at it. We're very proud of it. And it is maybe a scene that didn't happen with Milan. I'll always say it should have, but it was our way of blending Hickory and Milan into Mishawaka. So thank you for that opportunity, and God bless you all. I love you all.
Time to talk to the guest of the hour, right? So we're going to start with Roland Cutter. How you feeling about this today?
I am in awe every time I step into this building, but the last two times was number one, to see the trophy room and reception area that Milan put attached to this particular building. I'm also in awe today. I never got to play with these guys all the way through school because they were 2 years ahead of me. By the time I got to be a 7th and 8th grader, they were in high school. By the time I got to high school, I was only a rookie freshman. But they inspired me to be part of it. And I thank them for the opportunity to have the experience to play with them. I was a substitute. When it came to tournament time, Bob Engel had some difficulty, a back problem. I didn't know that I was going to get to play. I didn't know who was going to fill it. It didn't even enter my mind. But I was able to do that because of the experience that I had playing as a substitute and as a practice player against those guys. So I am in awe of you folks who came today for the purpose that you're here. It just touches my heart. And I thank you, and I thank all of you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ray Kraft. Ray, when you think back to that fateful day 70 years and 3 days ago, what memories immediately come flooding back to your mind?
Well, a lot of them, and I like Rollin every time I step into the gym. I'm amazed at what Milan High School and the Milan community has done for their students. I was not one of the outstanding players going up through the grades in high school. I was a sub, but I made the team, and my family lived on a farm, and my brothers and sisters and parents were willing to do my chores so that I could play sports. And my dad said, well, you can play, but I'm not going to come and bring you home every day. So that meant I had to find a way, basically by foot, to get from the gym to my home after practice. I was very fortunate to be on the team the year before, and this year we won the state championship. I have to thank Angelo personally for letting me be in the movie. I really appreciate it. I think Milan got to win the state championship for about 3 reasons. One is that we played Morton Memorial. I think Governor Mitch knows a lot about Morton Memorial, but they had a team, and they were very good, and they were in the regional. And we were behind. In some way, the cord got pulled out of the clock. Don't know who did it, but it was long enough for us to catch up. And we beat them in overtime. Headlines next day, Indians steal game from orphans. I think that was one reason. You know, it let us go on to the state championship, and we got beat soundly by South Bend, and I think that told us that if you want to win a state championship, you've got to get better. And I think we got better as a team and as a coaching staff. The other thing that happened was that Mr. Grinstead was a great person, great coach, but Marvin's coaching philosophy better fit the Milan team than Coach Grinstead's. And so after our sophomore year, they changed coaches to Marvin, and we run a Butler system with his innovative other things that he put in, like Bobby will tell you this story, but the 4 corners, Milan played it long before North Carolina. Yet Everett Case, I think, was the one they said credit that invented the 4 corners. Marvin was innovative as a coach, and he did things that made it possible for us to win. I just remember coming home, the amazing, they said 40,000 people. Can you imagine 40,000 people in Milan and trying to get here? It changed my life. Other than marrying my wife, I think that was a big part of my life. And I'm just thankful that I moved to Milan and met these people. Thank you.
Well, I'm not much of a speaker, so I'm not going to say too much. But I am so happy that I am still here to attend and see this such big crowd that we have here. It has been a long journey, and I have really enjoyed it. And I'm so happy to see so many people. This is just great. I love you all. Bye-bye.
Again, this has been a great, and for his individual honor with the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame, a long overdue induction on Wednesday for Gene. What's going through your mind right now as you're reliving these memories and seeing all these people here?
Well, it's always a pleasure to come back to Milan. Anita and I have had to do that a few years now, but nothing can touch what went on when we were here. We had one outstanding feature. Nobody cared who scored. Nobody talked about, oh, I got 12 or 15 or 20 points. Some did, some didn't. And to play sports, a team sports, you got to treat it as a team. You can't try to make the other guys create your future. And I think that was our biggest thing. I think it matters not who scored. Heck, even I got a bucket once in a while. But I really appreciate coming back, and I appreciate all of you coming to meet us and talk to us and remind us of things we did back and good. So, just an out-and-out pleasure to be here today.
Gene, thank you very much for having passed the microphone. So Roger, you're kind of like me, a Southern Indiana guy that ended up as a transplant in the Indianapolis area. What's it like to come back home and be a part of this today?
Well, the board of directors at the Milan Museum never cease to amaze me. Look at what we have today. During the playing days, you have 10 players on the team. You have the first 5, and you have the second 5. Well, my job was on the second 5. And in any team, any corporation, whatever, everybody has a job to do, and you need to do it as well as you can. Now, our job as part of the second 5 was to play as hard as we could, make it as difficult as possible in practice every day. So these guys would have to work hard and improve and be better and play the guys that were on the schedule. And during the games, we had to be ready in case we were going to play, in case we would go in like Rollin went in, and he did a fabulous job in the 3 quarters, nearly 3 quarters that he played in the final game on his birthday, by the way. And it's also our job to be there and not go into the game. So sometimes it's that way, and sometimes it isn't. So I was happy with my job. I tried to do it as well as I could. I was all set to go to Purdue. I was going to be in engineering, and I don't know if I would have made it there or not, but something happened, and I called it the Milan thing, and I ended up, Gene and I went to Franklin College and played both basketball and baseball there. And there was a wonderful thing that happened to me there. That's where I met my wife, Sue. And that's been nearly 66 years ago that we've been married. And so I'm happy to have spent that time with her and with all my family. Almost everyone is here today. A couple couldn't be here, but almost everyone is here. And so what I'd like to say is, Bobby, I sure am glad you made that shot.
And not like Bobby needs an introduction or a prompt from me, but the guy that had the ball last gets to have the microphone last. Bobby, how you doing today?
I'm doing very well, and I'm glad I made the last shot too. I'd like to pay a compliment to the board of directors of the Milan Museum, and would you all stand, please, for the reason that we're here. And they deserve an awful lot of credit. And these three gentlemen sitting here, isn't it great here in Milan that we can have such dignitaries here? So I hope all of you have a great time. It's always great to come back to Milan. I've got 4 generations here, and we've been married 66 years. Gene White's been married 67 years to Anita. So we've got kind of a thing going here. And special thanks that I want to make is to these guys. They're the reason let me amend that. The reason we won is Marvin Wood, without a doubt. Nothing against Mr. Grinstead. He was a great coach. He was a great guy. But I'll give you an idea of how Marvin Wood affected us. He did bring us a 4-corner offense. He also brought it. Here's the reason I say Marvin Wood is the reason we won. Most coaches will say my way or the highway. Marvin Wood had never played a zone defense in his life. He went to Butler. Mr. Hinkle didn't believe in the zone. We had never played a man-to-man except trying to get back in the game. We always played a zone. So when Woody came here, he said, we're going to play man-to-man, best there is. We worked on it very hard. After 2 games, he found out we couldn't play that man-to-man very well. What did he do? He went to the 8th grade coach, Mark Combs, and said, Mark, would you come up and teach these kids the zone defense? Mark said, no. Woody said, no. Why? He said, I don't have to. They already know it. Woody said, I don't. Would you come up and teach me the zone defense? And that's why you see Mark Combs in all of our pictures. You won't find many coaches that go down to the lower levels to find out how to play the game. I'm going to give a compliment to Mr. Grinstead. He's the reason Marvin Wood came here. Our sophomore year, there were 7 seniors on the ball club. There were 7 sophomores of us. We were playing the 2nd game of the season. Some of us got a dress for the varsity. We were 2nd team. We weren't on the varsity as our sophomore year. We're playing Osgood, a county rivalry. They had us down the 2nd game of the season, 20 points at halftime. Mr. Grinstead came in the dressing room and pointed to the 7 seniors and said, gentlemen, if you don't come back and make a game of this, I'm taking your uniform. We got beat 82-44. He draped 7 uniforms on his arm, kicked 7 seniors off the ball club. You didn't do that in the 50s. He brought the 2 best players back and moved the rest of us up. Bob Ingle and I got a start. We beat Batesville the next game, had not defeated them for 8 years. We played Osgood 2 weeks later, and we beat them by 12. So we had the greatest season Milan's ever had. Everybody was excited. Mr. Grinstead coming back. We got 7, these juniors, they'll be juniors. The superintendent fired Mr. Grinstead the next month. So I've got to thank that superintendent for Marvin Wood. But Mr. Grinstead told me that it was fortunate for us, not for him. He wanted to coach us. But he said we wouldn't have won if I'd have been the coach. And to give you an idea of what Mr. Grinstead thought of Marvin Wood, when Ray and I were at Butler, he was coaching at Moores Hill. He asked us to come down and show his players the offense that Marvin Wood brought to us. In addition to that offense, he brought a full court trap, a half court trap. We used it in the tournaments. I can't say enough about the man and my teammates. And they were right. We didn't care. By the way, that last game, everybody remembers it. I hit the final shot. It's the worst game I played in 2 years of tournament play. Ray Kraft was the leading scorer in the final game. I had 71 points in the previous 3 games. I had 6 points until I made the last 4 points. So everybody remembers that. And if you follow coach's instructions, everything comes out all right. In the huddle, Woody says, Ray, you take it out and throw it to Bob. Gene White, our starting center, said, if we're going to do that, why don't we get on the outside over there and that'll open that up. Woody said, that's a good idea, that's what we'll do. I said, let's go over it again. He said, Ray, you take it out and throw it to Bob. Guess who took the ball out of bounds? Anyway, good to see y'all. Have a great time. Great to be back.
All right, with that, I wanted to make sure, because Robin touched on some of the players, there are those that are still with us that couldn't be here today. We wanted to make sure we recognized Bill Jordan, Kenny DeLapp, Bob Wickman, who was scheduled to come here, but unfortunately illness in the family could not make it back for today. Fred Bushing, student manager. Oliver Jones, student manager, right there, thank you very much. And David Jordan, the mascot. So if you are in the building and I called your name, please stand and be recognized. Robin mentioned the team members that are no longer with us, are Ronnie Truitt, Bob Engel, Kenny Wendelman, Glenn Butt. Also want to make sure we recognize Marvin Wood, Mark Combs, as Bobby talked about, Clarence Kelly, cheerleaders, Virginia Boss-Craft, and Marjorie Ent. Again, God bless them, and I want to make sure we recognize them. I'd like to welcome Deb Shoemake, who is the Milan Town Council President, for a special proclamation and presentation.
I'd like to take a moment to introduce the other two council members with me here today, Mark Marcy and Drew Ullman, who is making his way over here. So first, we'd like to start with a proclamation declaring March 23rd, 2024, 1954 Milan Miracle Day. Whereas in 1954, the Milan High School Indians won the Indiana High School Boys Basketball Tournament, being the smallest school in the state to ever win a single-class state basketball title, which became known as the Milan Miracle. And whereas March 23rd, 2024 commemorates the 70th anniversary of the Milan Miracle, and whereas the Milan 54 Museum is holding an event on March 23rd, 2024 to honor the occasion. Now therefore, the Town Council for the Town of Milan, Indiana proclaims March 23rd, 2024 as the 1954 Milan Miracle Day. Be it further resolved that on March 23rd, 2024, the members of the Milan Miracle team shall be given the keys to the town to commemorate their accomplishment.
All right, that is the Town of Milan recognition. How about some recognition from the state of Indiana? So with that, I'd like to welcome State Senator Jean Lysing to the podium, please.
I'm here today to offer a Senate certificate of congratulations to the players and the cheerleaders. And I have to tell you just a quick story about, everybody talked about inspiration, but guess what? I was a cheerleader at Sunman in 1966, and we knew that if we cheered as hard as Patty and the Milan cheerleaders cheered, and if those players worked as hard as you guys, we could be the next state winners. We had no idea that we didn't have a chance. And by gosh, we won the Sunman sectional in 1966. And we got to go to Connorsville for the regional, and we lost. But I have to tell you, the inspiration that gave us, because we said, hey, Milan's just down the road. I mean, we're as good as Milan, right? Because we were Sunman. But anyway, thank you to you guys and Patty, the cheerleaders, because you were an inspiration to make sure that we cheered as hard as you guys and that we had a good cheer block. Thank you for all of that. But we have this certificate of congratulations, and I think, because I know a little bit Ray Craft, that we'll ask Ray Craft to come forward and receive it. And it says, in celebration of Milan High School's legendary 1954 Indiana basketball state championship to become the smallest school in Indiana history to capture the state championship, may the story of this team become a legend for many Hoosiers to enjoy for many years to come.
And while I can't issue a state proclamation, I can't give you a key to the city, I can't call there for a standing ovation. So folks, if you don't mind, how about a round of applause on your feet for the 1954 Milan Indians? And I am no Angelo or David, but I think that's where we roll credits.
Greetings, friends. I wanted to hop on here really quickly and tell you that while you are enjoying a Varie-tea episode this week, we have kept the April theme of Gone Too Soon going with our mini-sode. Candy and I have a brief conversation about celebrities who passed that affected us personally. You can access this exclusive content and enjoy other perks by becoming a member over at buymeacoffee.com/scandalwaterpod. And now back to the episode. After the ceremony concluded, the next thing that happened is they broke for lunch, because that's very important. And they said, what we're going to do after lunch, after you give everyone a little bit of time to eat, is we're going to have an autograph signing event. So if everybody could please just line up, start the line here, and then everyone was really sweet and they did what they were told, but that line wrapped around the gymnasium.
It did.
Autograph signers were people like Angelo Pizzo, Brad Long, the Milan Miracle men themselves.
Yes.
It was all these people that you could meet. What, about 8 to 10 people?
I would say probably 10.
Yeah, and they were signing anything you had, and they would talk to you, and it was really, really sweet. So Candy and I decided, what's the best way we can make use of our time besides going and getting our lunch? And we elected to just at random choose 3 fans from the line and just say, who are you? What brought you here? And there was 3 wildly different stories about why they were there.
And then after that, we actually went up to one of the officers from the Milan Museum and heard from him as well. So after the fans, you'll hear from him.
Yes. Tell us who you are and why you're here today.
My name is Jeff Doro. I'm from Southwest Michigan, so I grew up close to Indiana basketball and always loved the movie Hoosiers. And then when I met my wife, her family's actually from Milan and grew up here, and so it kind of all culminated together and kind of saw this, and we visited Hoosier spots like during our honeymoon and like kind of saw the filming locations, and then we saw this was happening, and so we had to come. So like woke up this morning and drove down.
How long of a drive was it?
About 3.5 hours. Yeah.
So you really are super fans.
Oh yeah, I love it. Yep.
Nice.
So, yep. Well, this is only one of. This is Newt, our son Newt, who was born last year, and we have 5 other kids that are home. But yeah,
So what's your favorite line in Hoosiers, or what's your favorite part?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't think I really have one. I think the whole thing just kind of I coach basketball too, so kind of just try to show the new kids like that movie and how it all culminates. And the stuff that guys were saying today is, I was telling my wife, that's what I tell all of our players now. They play as a team. It doesn't matter who scores. Like they're also independent nowadays, and now it's like that's how they should play. That's how they should win. And so hopefully I can get that across to them again.
All right, I'm Neil. My grandpa played basketball at Batesville, played against some of these guys. I guess grew up with them, and I think he lived next to Gene White for a while. So we're just here seeing what it was like back then for those guys playing together.
Hello. Hi, nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
They said we should talk to you. Did you play for the team or who?
No, I played against them. I didn't play for them.
How were they as a team?
Pretty tough. Yeah, pretty tough. Yeah.
And why are you guys here today?
Just to celebrate. Her birthday yesterday, 61.
Happy birthday.
Dad talked about these guys a lot and how they fouled all the time and they were dirty. No. no.
They were a lot better than we were, yeah.
What was your team?
Batesville Bulldogs, yeah. We wanted in 51 and 52, we went to the regionals, and then they came along in 53 and 54.
So they were your big rivals.
Yeah, they were, but we didn't play them much during the year. I played them just once in the sectional when I was a junior, but that's the only time I played against them, yeah. I was kind of glad of that, yeah.
So what's one memory you have of playing against that team?
Oh, probably how they slowed the game down, probably the 4-corner deal, and of course then when they got ahead of us, we slowed the game down too because that's the only way we could stay close to them, so. Yeah.
Didn't you have to guard Gene White?
Yeah, I guarded Gene White. Gene White and I were the tallest on the teams. We were both about 6'1". That's as tall as they were at that age, yeah. And I think the biggest thing I remember maybe is after they won the state championship is trying to come over here and see them when they came home because they really did have that many people come to the celebration.
Didn't they say it was like 4,000 people?
40,000.
40,000.
And I think maybe 70 or 80 counties in the state that had somebody here represented. So, yeah.
So it really was a whole state victory.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, I was just part of a team that got to play against them. So I didn't do anything good. Yeah. My nickname is Ham. Last name is Strewing.
I'm Jess Gorman, and I'm a huge sports fan, and this is a wonderful, wonderful occasion for Milan and the whole state of Indiana and basketball.
Are you from here?
No, I'm from Cincinnati.
Oh, well, so you drove in just for this?
No, I live in Madison now, but I live locally, but I'm so happy to be here.
Your favorite part of the film?
I think when they won, I guess.
Well, yeah, everybody loves that. That's amazing.
In terms of this celebration, what are you most excited about?
Oh, just being here celebrating with everyone and getting to meet more of the players. I got to meet some many years ago, but it's great to be here and to see the refurbished gym. It's really neat.
I'm Ray Barley. Gene White is my brother-in-law. And I met Gene. I started teaching here in 1970, and he was the AD at that time. And there was another young teacher that started the same year, and his sister, Linda, and we were married 2 years later. And I taught here for 37 years, and I coached basketball for 27, 5 as freshman and 22 as JV. And I've been in Milan since 70 and involved with the 54 Museum. I'm on the directors, I'm the vice president, and just love basketball.
So how long have you been on the board of directors?
Probably for about 15 years.
So for people who are not familiar with the Milan Museum, what is the goal of it? What is the purpose behind it?
To keep our story alive. And you'd be amazed, maybe, where the people are from when they come into the museum. I was in there the other day, and there was a gentleman from Canada, had his $2 with him, and he was just making an Indiana basketball trip. That was his vacation.
Wow.
He'd been to Hinkle Fieldhouse, been to Newcastle, been to Knightstown. He went down to West Baden to where Larry Bird was raised, went to his gym, saw the house that he was raised in, and it's just amazing where the people are from. And obviously the movie Hoosiers have kept the story alive.
Would you say that's the furthest you've seen anyone come in to the museum?
Well, we've had them from Japan, we've had them from foreign countries, China. I was in there, it's been that last summer, somebody's back watching the game, I went back, asked him where he's from, San Diego.
Wow.
So amazing.
What do you hear the most about when people come in? What do they tell you? Like, what brings them here? What is the thing that compels them to come?
Well, often they come in and say, well, I watched the movie last night, and no matter where you go, it doesn't seem like if you say you're from Milan, oh yeah, I know where that is, or I've heard of Milan, and it's amazing.
I know it's a big question, but what do you think is the most significant lesson that the Milan Miracle teaches us?
I think it's teamwork. And you heard that mentioned 2 or 3 times when the guy spoke. It's teamwork. And, you know, again, they didn't care who scored or anything like that. And they grew up together, playing together, and they all got along so well. That's sometimes uncommon today.
No, I really admired that when they talked about the teamwork and how they didn't care who scored. That is so different from today, I feel like.
Yes, I do too. And I think that's one of the biggest things that people can get from their success.
The humility, the humbleness.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they've all stayed close.
Yeah.
They've had a reunion ever since. This is their 70th reunion. They started one the year after they won, and they've gotten together ever since, every year.
Aww. That's amazing.
Yes.
We are headed home from the Milan experience, and we're going to give our impressions. We're going to let Candy go first. So what's your impression right now, Candy?
I'm just so happy that we were able to participate in this today. It was so well done. This ceremony, this whole day that they put together to honor these men, and one of the cheerleaders was able to come as well for this wonderful accomplishment that they were able to do. And for us personally, after talking about this so much and getting to speak with Brad, to get to meet all these other people, to put faces to these people we've been talking about and studying in some ways, loved it. We got to speak with Angelo Pizzo. I mean, so many wonderful highlights today, and everyone was absolutely delightful. I just had the best time.
I think it's neat that a small school was able to do what they did, and it seems to have affected the community. For the school to have, you know, a nice facility so that these youngsters have a place to go and practice and perform. I just think winning the original game did a whole lot for this community.
One thing that we did when we finished is we went to the museum, and they have this photo of the winning team, but they have this humongous photo of it on the back wall where you can really see their expressions, and they are so happy. They're so happy, and you just see their faces, and they look just exultant, and it kind of just brought this little tear to my eye. And we talked about how this has trickled down through the years and how it affected so many people, how so many people were so inspired by them that they ended up doing something with their lives because of that. We even had someone that came from the other school and was there to support them, and they said, you know, it was just a win for all of us. It just was amazing, and just it was one of those really moving moments where you see these boys and they are just so happy, and you think, we did that episode about photographs and how they evoke emotion. That one photograph, all the emotion in that photograph really, really moved me.
One thing that stood out to me is, you know, I've seen the movie many times before and always enjoyed it, but actually being there today and seeing the power of this event and the way it's still so important. I mean, this is 70 years ago, and people are still celebrating it today and still getting excited about it. And, you know, like I said earlier, it goes back to, it was a lot of things that happened, but that one shot. Yeah, and I said that earlier, if that shot had missed, we don't have any of this, we don't celebrate it, and there's none of it, probably no movie made. So just kind of that one moment, that one defining moment that changed everything and made so many things happen for the town, for the players, for the people to still enjoy it today. Just kind of goes to show you how important just one event that takes 1 second can be in changing the future.
You know, thinking about all the comments we've made, I guess what occurs to me now is we spent so much time thinking about this movie and the underdog story of the movie, the underdog story of the Milan Miracle that inspired it, the underdog story of these two fellas from IU who worked so hard to bring their dream to life. And it was all so inspirational and so uplifting. And what a wonderful way that we got to do this today, because I had that same uplifting, inspirational feeling as I was watching this whole ceremony take place.
And that brings us back to today. Right before we left, we stopped by the museum, as we mentioned in our car talk back, and that place is chock full of memories.
Yes, it is.
They have the bed from where Dennis Hopper was in the bed. They have the whole little, and again, so small. Just like, my goodness. They had a video of the final play, so you could watch that happening in
Which
the back room.
Was very cool.
It was.
Kirk loved that,
Did he?
By the way. Mm-hmm.
And they have lockers where you see the boys' stuff. I mean, they know how to do nostalgia right.
They do. And boy, did they use their space well, because
they did.
You could not take 2 steps without stopping and going, look at this. Yeah, very well done. Just to kind of wrap this up, what are our few final thoughts about our experience at the 70th anniversary of the Milan Miracle?
One thing that I loved was the emphasis on humility and teamwork. I know I said that in the talk back in the car, but it still is a thing that stuck with me. One of the things that one of the players mentioned is we didn't care who scored the points. And that was just like this revolutionary statement to me, because when do we hear that now? When does it not matter who scored points? They were just in it together, and they were truly a team, and how happy they were for each other, and how much of a team and how cohesive they were. Even the coach that got replaced said, you wouldn't have won if I was your coach. The humility that they all had in their common goal, I think, is one of the reasons this legacy has endured.
Absolutely. In fact, Bobby Plump, I thought it was so, I'll use your word, humble and sweet of him to acknowledge that game was actually his worst game. He may have gotten that final shot that put him in the history books, but he had a terrible game otherwise.
Yeah.
He said he'd only made 6 points, which for him was not much at all.
Right.
But here he is at the celebration giving credit to the other players who did such a fantastic job. That said, you made me think of something else. powerhouse. I did. During that celebration, I saw exactly what you were saying, that emphasis on humility and teamwork and being in something together with a common goal. But it was so interesting to me that we also got to hear from Angelo Pizzo and see these actors who were part of that second layer of making sure that Milan went on in our memories. And it was interesting, the screenwriter move of taking those same themes of teamwork and humility, but also then adding the huge redemption piece, which is what we saw so much in Hoosiers.
Right.
And adding that whole other plot line,
right,
which is part of why it's so inspirational, because it has all of it.
Kirk mentioned it's this one moment that is echoed throughout history. And what a reminder of just one thing can change the rest of your life.
Right.
How many times did the men in the speeches say, this changed my life?
Right.
This game changed the trajectory of my life.
Yeah.
It was amazing. A couple other things that we got to do is we got to see some of the cars.
Yes.
We got to see the sheriff's car, and
we got pictures with them.
We did. We took a selfie with Gene Hackman. I hope
we
you
did.
know.
Yes,
I hope
did.
you know. Okay, it wasn't really him. It was a cutout of him, but it was. We can say it was him. And we got to get on the bus, which was so small.
It was small. I'm
Isn't
trying to
it
picture
funny?
all those basketball players on there.
I know. It's so funny when you see stuff in the film, in movies, they look so larger than life, and then it's like, oh, it's so small. It's so neat. And we also got to have an extended conversation with Angelo Pizzo off mic, which was really cool.
Oh, yes, it
and talk about
was.
the writing process and how, you know, once you write something, you give birth to it, and then it's out in the world, which we've talked about before. But it was so cool to hear someone who we admire, and you guys know how much I love Rudy. And I got to tell the writer of Rudy, I love Rudy. Mentioning Rudy, there's an event coming up on April 18th, and we'll put a link for it. It is going to be in Bloomington. They are going to show Rudy.
Yes, they are.
And they're going to have a talk back with Angelo. And
we can't
and
make
I can't go. Oh, I am devastated. I am super, super devastated. But it's going to be final dress for the show that I'm doing here at the high school. And I can't go. But please, you all go and tell them we sent you.
You know, one last thought. Speaking of our conversation with Angelo Pizzo, there was not a person at this event who was not warm and friendly to us.
I know.
To a person.
Yeah.
They were so kind, so warm, so welcoming.
We met another documentary filmmaker, a woman who's working on a story there.
Yes.
We said that her story's not ready yet, but it's maybe someone we'll talk to in the future, but they were kind to us. They were like, hey,
everybody,
fellow people who are working on stuff. Yeah, it was so cool.
Well, I think we end with a big cheers to the players of the Milan High School, those 1954 state winners who performed the Milan Miracle. Cheers to you guys.
Cheers.
If you love what we do, please rate and review our show. Or you can become a supporter by making a donation through buymeacoffee.com/scandalwaterpod. Whether a single gift or a recurring monthly donation, it would go a long way towards supporting our work and allowing us to keep the tea brewing.
At our website, www.scandalwaterpodcast.com, you can submit questions or your own story ideas, access our sources and show notes, see the merch we offer for sale, and more. You can join the Scandal Water community through our Scandal Water Podcast Facebook page or follow us on Instagram or TikTok at Scandal Water Podcast.
This episode was executive produced by Candy Thomas, that's me, and Ashley Raymer Brown,
that's me.
It was researched and written by Candy Thomas and edited by Ashley Raymer Brown.
A special thank you to Josh Martin, who wrote, composed, and performed the Scandal Water theme and other music. Matt C. Adams, who created the artwork, and Joshua Reith, who designed our website and provides ongoing technical support.
As a reminder, this podcast is purely for entertainment purposes. The thoughts and opinions of the host during each episode of Scandal Water are their own and do not reflect the opinions of any future guests, advertisers, or clearly professional psychologists. Thanks for listening.